what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glow, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you very much to Julia Acosta. Thanks so much to the LA Recruiting Station Marine Corps Color Guard, Los Angeles. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to the featured bout of the evening, brought to you by Forum Boxing and Budweiser, the undisputed, undefeated king of beers. This bout coming away is sanctioned by the North American Boxing Federation. The president, Mario LaTraverse, supervisor at ringside, Sammy Macias, along with the California State Athletic Commission. The chairman is Willie Buchanan, executive director Richard DeCure. Introducing to you the judges for this bout, scoring at ringside, Robert Bird, Dick Young, and Cindy Barton, and our referee in charge. He'll be giving instructions after the introductions, Dr. James Jenkin. All right, fans, here we go with our main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the NABF Flyweight Championship. Introducing to you first the challenger on my left, fighting out of the red corner. Entering the ring wearing black and white trunks, fighting out of the great city of Los Angeles. He weighed in at 111 pounds. His record includes 15 wins, 7 losses, and 2 draws, with 8 wins coming by way of knockout. Please welcome tonight's challenger, Sammy "Toy" Stewart. And his opponent across the ring on my right, fighting out of the blue corners, the defending champion on my right, wearing white trunks with black trim, joining us from the east side of St. Louis, Illinois. He weighed in at 111 1/2 pounds. His record includes 14 wins, 3 losses, 8 of his wins coming by way of knockout. Welcome the defending NABF Flyweight Champion, Arthur "Flash" Johnson. Once again, Dr. James Jenkin, our referee in charge.
Gentlemen, you both have your trunks high. Low blow here. Low blow here. Gentlemen, obey my commands. Let's go.
Tail of the tape for this NABF flyweight title. Johnson's at 5'7", 4 inches taller than Stewart, and he's a ½ pound heavier. He is 4 inches older, and in the reach department, he has an advantage of 2 inches.
Appreciate it.
Jim Oldenburg, also over, a very important member of the entourage of Arthur "Flash" Johnson. Angelo Dundee steps down out of the ring, comes down the ring apron, and the fight is underway. Scheduled for 12, NABF Championship. Johnson is the champion. Both men out there in black and cream or white-colored trunks, but Johnson, the champion, has "Flash" written in script across the front of his trunks.
Both of these guys tried to step up to the 115-pound class and to tangle with Johnny Tapia. 2 years ago, Arthur Johnson fought Tapia and lost a razor-thin decision, a split decision to Tapia in Albuquerque, which is, you know, a tough place for anybody to go in and fight Tapia.
Like fighting Tapia in his closet, isn't it? And he owns Albuquerque. He also fought and was beaten by Raton Jimenez.
Yes, and we saw that fight here at the Great Western Forum. And again, Tom, that was a hotly disputed decision. decision. Again, a split decision. And his only other loss, as far as Arthur Johnson is concerned, Flash Johnson, came in Thailand. He fought again for a world championship against Pichit Prachin, and he lost a close decision there. He feels he won all those fights. As far as Dundee is concerned, the kid is 17-0, not 14-3.
I had to laugh. John Beirudi, who, as I referred to him prior to tonight's telecast, provides us with copious notes, voluminous files. Why, he called Bang Pracharan, he called him Senior Alphabet. That's outside. Of course, Beirudi has a, a week or 10 days to think up those things. Isn't that clever? I think X, Y, and Z were about the only letters he doesn't have in his name.
Yeah, I stopped counting after about 15 letters. Sammy Stewart's a clever guy, Tom. He's going to throw a lot of angles at Flash Johnson. Johnson usually goes in and can be confident he can outbox anybody in the ring, but this kid is going to give him angles, and he's going to show him some speed and some boxing ability.
Well, when our program opened tonight, I had talked with Fernando Paramo, who was down talking to Johnson, and I said, ask him about starting at 25. That seems a little late, even at this light division, flyweights. He said no, he had no regrets about that. He was on the '88 Olympic team and waited till he was 25 to turn professional. And he said, I'm brand new at 31. He said, really, I've not been used up, haven't been banged up, haven't been knocked around. I think he feels his future is very much in front of him.
Yeah, I would agree with him in that regard. And keep in mind, Tom, that from the time he fought in the Olympics, he didn't turn pro for well more than 3 years. After that, he attended to his work at the ministry and to missionary work. A very religious kid, and that was important to him at the time.
And he said he had a long amateur career, and he thought that he and his body deserved a rest, and so he took some time off. Round 1 is coming to a close. Remember, it's scheduled for 12, and we'll be back to see about round 2 after this. How many times has Angelo Dundee climbed in and out of a ring, Richard Rodgers?
Boy, thousands and thousands of times, tens of thousands of times, Tom.
He climbed in with champions and climbed in and out with guys who were champions and then weren't, and guys who weren't champions and then became such. What a career the man has had, huh? Well, this is the first time we've seen him actually with Johnson out here fighting. Angelo has stayed back in Florida for the most part. And Oldenburg has kind of handled it very well.
Jim Oldenburg handles much of the training of Arthur Johnson, and Angelo is his manager slash trainer. So Oldenburg's very important, certainly in the career of Flash Johnson. But Dundee, you just can't take away that wisdom. And what he was telling Flash Johnson between the rounds is, don't let this guy back you up. No. Back him up. More jabs, back him up. Yeah. And when he starts to come at you with a hook, you hook, left hook, and beat him to the punch. Your hook is better than his, so throw it.
Well, easier said than done, of course, or much easier to say in a corner when you don't have to go out there and do it. And credit must be given Sammy the Toy Stewart. He took this fight in about 5 days' notice, but that doesn't bother him. He is, as John Beirudi named him, stand-by Sammy, and he is a tough little competitor. Not a big hitter, pretty good boxer, clever in fact at times, does not have a great chin, but he does know what he's doing in that ring, and he is going to give Arthur Flash Johnson a very busy time of it if given the opportunity.
Yeah, he's an excellent boxer. Usually, Sammy Stewart has had a brief pro career, Tom. He's 15-7-2, but he's already fought twice for the World Championship. He was stopped last October by Johnny Tapia in 7 rounds, and the year before he fought the South African Botile in South Africa and lost the decision to him.
And of course, the fight against Tapia was probably in Albuquerque as well, was it not?
I believe so.
Yeah. The light heavyweight Virgil Hill seldom ventured out of North Dakota. Tapia doesn't get out of Albuquerque if he doesn't have to.
You know, the ironic thing about that, very quickly, if we can digress, is that if Romero fights Tapia, as is expected to happen in June, they may not fight in Albuquerque, even though both of them are from there, because they feel that emotions are so high on both sides that there could be problems at the site.
They put it in the pit on the campus at University of New Mexico. That would be, I tell you. Flash Johnson, the taller of the two men. Sammy Stewart. This is going to be a 12-round war. Make no mistake about it.
Yeah, it's a chess match, Tom, and I don't think either guy has been able to establish any type of dominance in any way yet in the fight.
I said war, but I think you can exclude the part about any big guns, because neither of these guys is basically a one-punch knockout type guy. Both can box, both are clever, and I think both are fit and ready to go the distance. That's the end of round number 2, and we're going to follow the champion back to his corner. And of course, we want to eavesdrop on Angelo Dundee, a legend in his own time. Angelo slips through the ropes.
Get your rhythm, back it up. Okay. Don't reach for the guy. Everything nice and short. You know what I mean? Vaseline, please. Thank you.
With that right uppercut, as soon as you just throw that hook.
Okay. Nice and smart now. Close your mouth.
You shoot your right hand, left hook right behind
This
it.
guy's wide open for body shots as soon as he comes in. But fire with both hands.
Okay. When you get him a foot off that rope, I want him on that damn rope.
Stop. You don't have to be bouncing so much. Just carry the pace. Okay. You be the boss.
And Tom, I don't think that this young man, Arthur Johnson, has found his rhythm yet. And that's what Dundee is looking for. Like a few punches to the body.
Well, and Jim Oldenburg, who waits until almost the intermission is over before he offers any comment, says, I want him on the damned ropes. That's all he said to Johnson in reference to Sammy Stewart. We'll see if Johnson's able to put Stewart up against the ropes. Not an easy thing. Stewart is very quick. Pretty good right hand by Johnson.
And that was a sneak right. Very nicely thrown. Crisp, very sharp.
Stewart doesn't have a big chin, but he certainly is busy. He's thrown about 7 or 8 or 9 punches since he got nailed with that right, and Johnson hasn't hit him with another punch since. Dr. James Jenkin in the ring. I forget who wrote it, Rosenthal or some one of the local boxing writers said that James Jenkin should have been in the ring when Arthur McCall was in there because he's a psychologist.
But Oliver McCall?
Yeah, Oliver McCall really needed one. So where was he when he was needed most, huh?
Well, that was tough for anybody to figure out what was going on there. Other than a guy breaking down in front of your eyes.
Yeah.
Painful to watch, really.
Yes. Yeah, almost embarrassing. A thing like that. You
feel like you're intruding.
Yes, you want to go away, and yet you're kind of trapped. There's no place for you to go to. You're going to sit there and have to watch it.
You're seeing Arthur Johnson, the boxer here, the consummate boxer. It's what made his fight against Makita Martinez such a shock for us, Tom, when he knocked Makita out.
But you know, Makita, you hit him with any kind of a reasonable shot, he's just as liable to go down. We've seen him go down. Remember the fight he had against Jimenez? He was down about a half a dozen times, get up and almost knock Jimenez out, and then went down in about the 5th round to lose it.
Right.
So he does go up and down pretty much like an elevator, you know, that's kind of lost its moorings. But the 3 knockdown rule, I think, was as big a factor as the punches thrown by Arthur Flash Johnson in determining the fact that he got the title.
Stewart was born in Liberia, lives now in Los Angeles. Recall at the Pond of Anaheim last year, we had Zuma Nelson sitting by with us and watching. He said he knew Stewart, said he had a lot to learn there. And Zuma feels he's the professor.
Oh, yes. In fact, he was quick to point out that he is the professor. In fact, we said, how could you fight a guy and not do well and come back the next time and dispatch him with you know, alacrity? And he said, the professor does all those things. All right, round 3 coming to a close. Will be done. Come for round 4. Look for on a scorecard. Did you have any numbers there at all? Because they took it down so fast, nobody got to see it.
Yeah, I had Arthur Johnson up by a point, 29-28. I've given him the 1st and 3rd rounds. I thought Stewart won the 2nd round. But really, I mean, very little to choose from between the 2 fighters. I mean, there's been no material damage here whatsoever incurred by either fighter.
And It's liable to go this way for some time because while both do have the ability to knock the other fighter out, they're not one-punch type of knockout guys. It's going to be a battle of attrition, and in that regard, then conditioning will play as important a fact as any of the power that they might possess. And of course, Stewart, bear in mind, took the fight on short notice, but Stewart always apparently is in shape and ready to fight.
His trainer, Rudy Hernandez, was urging him in the corner not to get lazy in the ring, and to get on Johnson's stomach if he can, and throw 3 or 4 punches, then sidestep to the right-hand side away from him.
Arthur Flash Johnson, 31 years of age, member of the '88 Olympic team.
His last fight was December 2nd at the Pond of Anaheim, a unanimous 12-round decision over Miguel Puma Granados, who controlled the action all the way. Did Flash Johnson. He dominated, but he couldn't KO a very tough foe that night.
And on the other hand, Sammy Stewart has knocked him out, hasn't he?
Yes.
That is Granados. Different fights, different circumstances, of course. Nobody is the same in this business on any 2 straight nights. Or at least they might not be. But it does give you kind of a measuring stick. Stewart trying to do what his corner requested and demanded of him, let me put it that way, and throw a lot of punches. He's been out there. That jab of the right-hand lead.
There's that jab of Johnson. If he can get that thing going, then he'll be in good shape, Tom, because he figures to be able to outbox Sammy Stewart. Out-jab him, rather.
Sammy's pretty busy, Rich. He's throwing a lot of punches, and he's making the bigger man miss. Not with that left, though. Nailed him with another left coming in, didn't he?
Now, although I've given Johnson 2 of the first 3 rounds, I think he is finding some rhythm here in this round, Tom.
He has hit Stewart a couple of pretty good left hands, and Stewart, busy as he is, comes in on him. There's a nice combination. Right hand to the body and right up to the jaw.
That was a beauty, and unusual for a right-handed fighter to throw that combination. It was excellent. Well thrown.
Staggers away. I think got tripped up on his own shoelaces or something. And there's the bell that brings us to the end of round 4. A reminder, Fox Sports Net's Fight Night at the Forum will return Monday, March 17th. Well, St. Patrick's Day, always a good day for a good fight. We've got a dandy, Hector Lopez, who was 33-5. The 17 knockouts will defend his NABO junior welterweight title against the ex-WBA 140-pound champion, Carlos Bolillo Gonzalez, who's got a record of 45-3 with 40 knockouts. So Hector Lopez and Bolillo Gonzalez on March the 17th. Join us then. Budweiser Championship Boxing's Fight Night at the Forum. Monday, 17th.
Keep your jab out there, man. If he's at distance with you, at least start jabbing. You can also jab into the stomach with the overhand right. You hear? So stay busy, Sammy. Don't let this fight get away from you. You hear?
Double hook.
Round number 5, scheduled for 12. Neither man has been down. Arthur Flash Johnson, the taller of the 2. These are flyweights at 111 pounds. Weight limits 112.
Tom, I thought last round Arthur Johnson began to have some things go right for him. He began to get some power into his punches, began to find Sammy Stewart a little bit, began to be able to throw and connect with some body punches as well. Finding that rhythm that Angelo Dundee was looking for earlier in the bout.
Stewart very busy. And it would appear that, as you've indicated, Johnson has got the sharper blows and those that are perhaps a bit more telling and effective, though neither man is a great knockout type fighter.
Stewart's so tough to fight, tough to look good against, Tom, because look at the angles he gives you. Man, I mean, they are some strange angles. Punches he throws are weird. You just haven't seen guys that you face. Certainly you don't spar against guys like that. Who can imitate what he does? Very awkward type punches.
Well, Arthur Arthur Flash Johnson, Mark Too Sharp Johnson.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
I think it'd be a terrific fight. Bring in Magic Johnson as guest referee. Have all the Johnsons. Well, and Mark Johnson is the first African-American flyweight champ. He can fight it in honor of Jack Johnson, the first African-American heavyweight champ.
Exactly.
All Johnson night. But seriously, I think that would be a very good fight. Be a real test. And Arthur Johnson is much bigger than Too Sharp.
Yes,
and he's a very outstanding boxer. And his hands are just as quick as Too Sharp Johnson's. It would be a very interesting bout.
He has landed 2 or 3 solid right hands here that have given Sammy Stewart plenty of trouble. And now he is overpowering Stewart up against the ropes, who bobs and weaves very effectively, but Johnson is really all over him.
Yeah, Johnson found that he had a very elusive target in front of him. He was missing all of those head punches in the corner, Tom. That bobbing and weaving style that you referred to was very effective there for Stewart after he'd been hurt. And Johnson might have been better off if he'd have just gone downstairs a little where that body wasn't moving while the head was.
Well, it was all a matter of he kept throwing. I'm hoping that Stewart's head would bob up and connect with one of those punches. He certainly threw a lot of them, but he has landed several big-time right hands, and quite easily the best round of the fight for the champion. We'll be back.
Dodge Caravan.
Johnson came up with the biggest punch of the fight. He had Stewart backed into that corner and was lathering him pretty good. Threw a lot of punches there that ended up missing, but as Stewart backed into the corner, he was definitely shaken up.
He was hurt. His corner took cognizance of the fact that the next time you get hurt, grab him and hold on. And don't let him hit you with that right hand repeatedly like he did. He being Arthur Johnson, the champion. He did land about 4 or 5 solid right hands that backed Stewart up where you saw the exchange in the corner. This is round 6. It's scheduled for 12. Neither man has been down. Best round of the fight by Johnson, who now is really taking charge and has Stewart in big-time trouble here in round 6. And Stewart, unlike the instructions he was told, finally does reach out and grab on. And the referee, James Jen Kin, separates the two, and Stewart's going to have to grab and hold on again.
What you've seen Arthur Johnson, a very fine fighter, do here tonight, Tom, is basically break down what his opponent is doing, diagnose it little by little, and finally figure it out, get a rhythm, and go in and go to work and really establish some dominance now over his opponent.
Sammy Stewart is going to have to pretty much give away this round and try to stay away and prevent Johnson from unloading upon him again. He had him hurt. Stewart was hurt and staggered about. Finally, it dawned on him, but his corner had told him, grab him and hold on. And then stay away, clear your head, get yourself back into this thing. But Johnson in round number 5 and here in the 6th really had some solid moments out there against Sammy Stewart. And he's almost now disregarding whatever punching power Stewart brings with him, Rich.
Well, whatever Stewart has, it's not as much as Arthur Johnson's got, I don't believe.
No. And in fact, Flash is just kind of standing there looking to pick his spots as he has Stewart wobble-legged again and in trouble.
Now, this is a very fine boxer, Arthur Johnson. Really well-schooled. Had a great amateur career, Tom. 170 wins out of 190 amateur fights. 10-time national champion. Member of the U.S. Olympic team. This guy is very well-schooled, and now has the great wisdom of Angelo Dundee to go along with that. Great background.
Well, he's making his second defense of the NABF flyweight title, and he is looking very impressive here in the middle rounds of this 12-round scheduled title scrap. And he has really got Stewart in trouble in round 5 and here in round 6. But it would appear now as the seconds tick away, Stewart's going to survive this round. He hasn't been down yet, but he's been very close to going down as round 6 now comes to a close. So we follow the champion back over to his corner, Angelo Dundee. That's Jim Oldenburg with the glasses.
Right uppercuts are killing him, baby. Relax, relax. Yo. What I want you to do is
I want you to tear him up. But don't look to load up with each shot.
All right.
Let your combo.
Swallow this, baby.
got plenty of time. There's time out. Plenty of time.
Yeah?
There's time out.
There's time out. They're taking a look at him.
On the other side, they have taken time out. The doctors are in looking at Stewart.
Sammy, keep that goddamn left hand up. I told you already, keep it up. Don't be dropping your hands. You understand? Keep those hands up.
Doctors here at the forum are cognizant of the fact that Stewart has taken some pretty big-time shots in rounds 5 and 6. They're looking at him.
I think he's just being worn down, basically, by a better fighter, a world-class fighter. As you see, Arthur Johnson doing a great job with combination punching. Now everything is becoming much more accurate for Arthur Johnson.
Don't look the load up. Get me?
Well, Dundee wants him, as Dundee said, tear him up, but don't look to load up with one shot.
Yep.
In other words, just do what you did the last round, and you should be able to get the guy out.
Yes. In fact, any kind of a pickup performance from rounds 5 and 6 by the champion Arthur Flash Johnson, and this might be the last round of the championship go. Stewart moving, bouncing around, trying to keep from having that right hand land all over the middle of his face as it has in the last 2 rounds.
You know, I know that Mark Too Sharp Johnson watches our fights from the forum in Washington, D.C. I'm sure he's probably watching tonight and just wonder what he's thinking about perhaps seeing this as a future opponent.
Do you think, and I know you do because I heard you say it, that Flash is as quick as Too Sharp?
I think his hands are, I think his hand speed just about matches Too Sharp. I don't think he definitely cannot punch with Too Sharp Johnson, but he owns the physical advantages over him of height and, of height and reach. So you'd have a boxer with height and reach against a guy who can box and really punch as well. It'd be a terrific, terrific matchup if they ever got together.
I haven't seen Mark Johnson in a fight that might have been still undecided since he fought Orozco in Las Vegas in a fight that I thought at the time was one of the classic battles and just a war, and he just finally outlasted Orozco. And yet Mark Johnson, when he climbed down the steps out of the ring after that victory in the 11th round, he could barely walk himself. He was hurt. He'd been in a tremendous war. Since then, I don't think anybody has even come close to him. And I don't know if Flash Johnson can outbox Too Sharp. I know he can't outpunch him. But it would be something. And, you know, the other guys don't want to fight him. I mean, Tapias and those fellows, they don't want to fight him. So maybe you got to put these 211-pounders in there together, huh?
Why not? Let's put it on right in this ring.
Mark Too Sharp Johnson, in case you haven't seen the total package in action, is the IBF flyweight champion of the world. He defended his title against a very tough guy, Montiel, here at the forum 2 weeks ago.
Arthur Johnson here, Tom, is doing a good job of body punching in this round. Very surprising attack to the body, and he's also had good success with uppercuts in this round. And I don't think Sammy Stewart's strange style of fighting and all the movement is bothering Arthur Johnson at all anymore.
Not now. I think a couple of things are very much evident to him. One, he can hurt Stewart, and Stewart has not shown that he can hurt him. And that he has, when he does close with Stewart and land a few shots, he gets Stewart in trouble. And he has been very close, at least in round number 6, to putting Stewart down. But it must be given to Stewart. He's a tough guy, taking the fight on 5 days' notice and putting up a whale of a battle. We'll be back. It's scheduled for 12, and here we are in round number 8. Arthur Flash Johnson, the NAB flyweight champion, taller than the 2 men out there. He has the cream or white trunks with the black or dark brown band. Shorter of the 2 men is Sammy Stewart. Troubled in rounds 5 and 6. Recipient of several devastating blows thrown by Johnson. Stewart would not go down, though he was in trouble. And Johnson looking for a way to cut the ring off and land some solid rights. But Stewart is still very game, very active. And
it's interesting between rounds, Tommy. You're listening to Angelo Dundee talking to Arthur, kind of saying, "Come on, son. Come on, son. Put your bounce in." And referring to him as son, it's always mindful to me of the night when Sugar Ray Leonard fought Thomas Hearns, and he told Leonard after the 13th round, "You're blowing it, son, you're blowing it." And he urged him to go out and get Hearns in the 14th round after he had fallen behind on points, and Angelo knew that he had fallen behind at that point. And that "you're blowing it, son" comment has gone down in ring lore because Ray got off the stool and went out and pulled the fight out.
Yeah. And the lack of any kind of a good jab by the hitman Hearns to keep Leonard off him kept him from winning that fight, a fight that he had won and let get away. But then, of course, Billy Conn went out and thought he could slug with Lewis, didn't he? Yeah.
Stop boxing. Break clean.
Left hand out of there.
Get the point, Sammy. Get the point.
Sammy Stewart's a remarkable little fighter, Rich Murata. He has certainly been very active in this one. He has tried mightily.
Well, you know, he's one of those guys, Tom, he's kind of what you might refer to in basketball, say, as a tweener, but I don't mean in size, but in talent. He's right on the verge. In other words, he can beat all the club fighters. Every club fighter you throw him in with, he's going to beat. But when he goes up against the world-class guys, the world champion, or the guys that are ranked in the top 4 or 5, he can't get over the hump to beat them. So he's right on that borderline. He's between the club fighter and the world champion.
Flash Johnson trying to trap him against the ropes. We're in round number 8, scheduled for 12. And less than 10 remaining here, seconds that is, in this the 8th round. Johnson continues to move along apace. We'll be back. Round, the last admonition as he came out of the corner from Angelo Dundee. Number 9, baby, number 9. Johnson is the NABF flyweight champion. Came in at 111.5 pounds. Sammy Stewart, shorter of the two men. He's 5'3", and Johnson is 5'7".
You know, it's so calm over in that Arthur Johnson corner, which is how Angelo Dundee always wants it and how he treats his fighters. There's not a lot of screaming and yelling necessary, and he gives him very few things to think about, Tommy. Maybe 1 or 2 items so that he can impress that upon the fighter. You know, basically in that round, he told him, don't load up. Don't load up. Round before, don't bounce. Don't give him 1 or 2 things. Don't scream 8,000 different instructions to a fighter. You know, hit him with the left hand and then go to the right to the body and then, you know, back up a couple of steps and come up with the right uppercut. I mean, there's so many trainers, and unfortunately, there are a lot of bad trainers in this business that don't know what they're doing, and they throw so much at the fighter that who knows what the heck they've said. You know, when the guy goes out, he's probably more confused than when he came back to the corner.
But the only thing they told him about what they wanted him to do was throw that left hook and then throw the uppercut right behind it, the right hand. They said it's been there all night long. Go ahead and do it. And we'll see if he really drops a right hand on Sammy Stewart. And Stewart grabs on, and they punch their way out of that clinch. Stewart was in trouble in round number 5 and in round number 6, so much so that at the end of the 6th round, or during the intermission, the doctors went over to check with Sammy Stewart. He had taken some really big-time right hands, had been up against the ropes, had bobbed and weaved his way away from being knocked down, but had been hit and hurt. And since then, why, he's been at least more cautious. He has avoided that right hand that Johnson landed with such success. Stewart continues to toil along here in the late going. It's scheduled for 12, and we're in round number 9.
Stewart is a guy without a big punch, Tom, and he's going to find himself at the physical disadvantage against most fighters that he fights. So he needs to have his strange angles that he throws at you and his strange style and technique be so effective that it overcomes what you've got in terms of natural advantages over him. But tonight, there's so much talent on the other side that, you know, all of that style and technique of Sammy Stewart isn't quite enough.
No. He has been hit with some pretty decent shots here by the champion in this, the 9th round, and Johnson has him against the ropes but can't finish him off. We'll be back. Johnson leads on Rich Murata's scorecard. This is round number 10.
Made sure you got it in quick that time.
Oh, got to do it in a hurry.
Tom, I thought Sammy Stewart bounced back pretty good in that last round.
Well, I tell you, he's done remarkably well. I thought he was going to be gone in the 7th round.
Looked that way, yeah. Stewart is a guy who perhaps they might have jumped him up in competition a little too quick in his career. Now, he hasn't fought that many fights, Tom, right now. When you think about his background of the guys who he's fought already, the world champion, he's only 15-7 in his career. And he was fighting guys, long before this, at the very top of their game. Much the way that Arthur Johnson is, but Stewart, perhaps with a little more careful guidance on the way up, might have been able to get to a little bit higher height than he has in his career. Not that he's doing badly. He has fought for, 2 world champions.
Yes. I think it's evident, at least it is to me here, and I think perhaps to the viewers at home, that Stewart can't hurt Johnson. And I think Johnson has realized that for several rounds now. And while Dundee doesn't want him to load up, he's almost content to let Stewart throw punches. And it was interesting, Stewart's corner, some very solid advice. If you're going to walk in, don't walk in throwing hooks. Throw the jab, because when you throw a hook, the only thing you're leading with is your chin.
Well, come to think of it, Tom, and Arthur is a big flyweight, 5'7".
Yes, he is.
We've seen him in with some real punchers. We've seen him in with Raton Jimenez. We've seen him in with Maquito Martinez. These are guys that can really bang for their size. I mean, really bang. And yet, I don't think we've ever seen him hurt.
No.
Regardless of who he's banging against.
No.
Anyway, I don't recall seeing him hurt against Johnny Tapia when they fought for the world title in Albuquerque.
Stewart is a bit of a marvel, though. He has taken some of the best shots that Johnson has. And in rounds 5 and 6, was just about a punch away from being back in the dressing room. And here he is, hanging away, doing his level best, trying to grab a little lightning in a moment in the 10th round of a fight that's scheduled for 12. Again, Johnson with the jab and the uppercut continues to pop away at Sammy Stewart, winning quite handily, we would think. We'll be back. Number 11, scheduled for 12, that's Arthur Flash Johnson, the taller of the 2 men. He's the NAB flyweight champion. Contender, the man who'd like to take the title, Sammy Stewart. Shorter of the 2 in the trunks that are brown and cream in color. Stewart was in trouble in rounds 5 and in serious trouble in round 6. Has survived all of that.
Rudy Hernandez, Stewart's trainer, was urging Sammy to move to his right and not to initiate the action, Tom. And here you see him moving to his left. But he wants him not to initiate the action, but to wait and counterpunch off of the punches of Arthur Johnson. Over in Arthur Johnson's corner, it was pretty simple. They're basically saying, let's keep it nice and smart.
Well, I think they feel that Stewart can't hurt Johnson. That Johnson can go out there and just jab and outbox him. And, whatever, if Stewart should catch him with his Sunday best, it's not going to affect the outcome of this fight. Which I think they feel they've really got in the bag. I think they feel that Johnson has certainly outpointed Stewart at every stage of the fight. You've got him ahead probably by 6 rounds, at least 6 points, do you not?
Yes, I have it at 98-92 right now.
And I'm wondering, it looked to me, Rich, and I think to you too, that he was going to knock Stewart out in the 7th round, but he hasn't been able to put Stewart in any kind of trouble since then.
Yeah, there were 2 real strong rounds for Arthur Johnson, and it appeared as though he was just wearing the kid down, and by his greater strength and just overall ability was going to be able to take Stewart out of there. But Stewart, he recuperates pretty well and pretty quickly. And he came here tonight to, try to go in there and match wits with Arthur Johnson. This is, when you get in a chess match with a chess master like Arthur Johnson, it's a tough situation for you.
Sammy Stewart was a replacement. Fight originally scheduled for this go against Johnson, unable to get his visa to cross the border and come to the United States. So Sammy Stewart standing by, ready.
I think Arthur Johnson is probably a guy, Tom, because of his style, the boxing purists will enjoy, but the majority of fans probably don't enjoy that much. But to me, he's a very talented guy with tremendous skills, and is deserving of recognition to give him another world championship opportunity.
No question, he can do a lot of things. Why he hasn't knocked Stewart out, I don't know, because he has hit him enough times to do just that.
Fight by surviving here. Here, Sammy. You got this fight on a real short notice, man, but that's nothing. You understand? It's nothing, man. You got it going on. Here, this is nothing, man. Sammy, you need to stay busy. You're getting real close with it. I need you to start punching.
All or nothing at all coming out of Stewart's corner.
Go kidney shot. Okay. Another one. Put that stuff together. Here, short stuff. Bang, 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 okay?
Let's round the right here. Look like a champion that you are, baby.
Let's go. Let's go on big. Trying to get that KO.
Last round, there ain't no more, okay?
Last round, there ain't no more, said Angelo. Well, we hope that it's just there ain't no more for tonight. There certainly would be more rounds to be fought. Looks like a champion, he said, as he sends him out. 12th round, they touch gloves, and this is it. The final 3 minutes of this title defense. The second for Flash Johnson.
One of the great joys for me as a boxing fan, Tom, is to be able to sit down at times with Angelo Dundee for an hour or two and just
listen,
talk to him and listen to hear the stories that he can spin, and you argue points with him, and it's just great. I'll argue to the death with Angelo about who really won the Floyd Patterson-Jimmy Ellis fight, and he was handling Jimmy Ellis, who got a very spurious decision that night.
Has Floyd ever called you, incidentally?
No, brother, no.
Oh, boy.
My boyhood idol.
I don't know if I should dare tell the people, I guess I can, how you were this close to walking up to Floyd Patterson, and you were so frightened and afraid that you turned and walked away.
I froze.
Yeah. Just Patterson was literally signing autographs. And Rich Murata, who's been the biggest Floyd Patterson fan since the year 1.
I couldn't bear to meet my boyhood idol.
They're just seconds away, matter of feet, from walking up and introducing himself and having
somebody.
you wilted, you just disappeared.
Johnson's starting pretty good here in the 12th round, Tom. He's landed some very good body punches, still punching extremely quickly. Hard to be accurate, though, against a guy like Sammy Stewart. You're going to miss a lot of punches against Stewart.
You are indeed.
Because of all that upper body movement and angles that he gives you. Unusual.
The crowd is a bit disappointed in the fact that neither man has been able to knock the other down, and while Johnson is pursuing Stewart with almost a vengeance, Stewart continues to be very elusive, very hard to get a clean shot at, and is willing to stand in close and mix as best he can. And I've certainly got a lot of admiration for Sammy Stewart. He's in against a better fighter tonight, and he has given his all, and I would love to see them both on their feet at the end of this round, Rich.
Although I think Stewart was shaken a little bit by that inside right hand.
He got hurt.
Johnson still means business.
Yes, he does, and he knows he's got Stewart again in trouble, and it's working him over. Well, Stewart's hurt. Stewart's in trouble, and Johnson wants to put him away. Stewart making him miss, but Johnson is landing 1 or 2 of those out of every 5 or 6 he throws. 10 seconds left. Stewart's going to make it, and I'm happy to see that. I think he deserves to be on his feet when the bell sounds. An admirable effort by Sammy Stewart. He was beaten by a bigger, better man tonight. But Stewart gave it his all, and I don't think his fans or any fans can ask for anything more than that. We'll get the final call on this decision for the NABF flyweight title. Johnson the champion, and I'm sure that he retained his title. We'll be back for the official call. At Fight Night at the Forum, brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that crisp, clean, classic taste. Well, it went 12 rounds, NABF flyweight championship. There's the title holder making a second defense. And one assumes that he has done that successfully. Jimmy Lennon Jr. has the official call. Jimmy?
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of boxing, we have a unanimous decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Dick Young scores at 118-110. Cindy Barton scores at 117-111. Robert Byrd sees it at 118-109. All three in favor of the winner. And still NABF flyweight champion, Arthur Flash Johnson.
Unanimous decision win for Flash Johnson, and a very gallant effort, even in vain, by Sammy Stewart. We have two young women advancing in the search for Miss Ringsider. That would be Jennifer, the 24-year-old from Chicago, graduate of Northwestern University, and contestant number 5, that was Leah. You recall Leah, 25-year-old from Houston, a bachelor's in business and a master's in education. They will advance. And of course, on the 17th of March, our fight night will have Hector Lopez.